The reality of what happened back in 2010 on a Glens Hospital mental health unit, the only mental health unit, is that I was having a gout attack. I had multiple staff members walk up and start laughing. Multiple staff members say that nothing was wrong without looking, which is a proven theme as I had been in and out of the ER and them saying that it was in my head. Gout is a visible disease. The photos I took while I was having a gout attack on that mental health unit by tricking them to let me into the room where belongings were kept, which was by one of the metal doors in a closet like area. I was able to get my phone, flip it open, it was a flip phone, and start taking photos of my foot. I actually remember that quite clearly. I knew something was up. I knew something was wrong. I did not know what was wrong. I was not diagnosed with gout until about 6 months later when I finally had a nurse look at my foot and go, "Oh, you have gout." My IQ was not as high as it is now because I was so mentally abused, including overly drugged. There was actually medical records showing that I was prescribed over 3,000, uh, over about 30 pills of Depakote a day at one point. The evidence was very clear that I was being abused in multiple different ways. So on this day back in 2010, I was having a gout attack and pain, hobbling around and trying to get myself help. Trying to figure out what was going on. Kept asking for a doctor. Kept asking to be taken to the ER or have an ER doctor come over. They refused repeatedly. It's important to note 60% of everybody with a mental health disorder has a chronic medical condition. As a now educated person who is working on a master's degree, I know this to be fact. There's actually studies that have shown it. There's not a real understanding of what the connection between the two is. It's just known that 60% of people with a mental health disorder have a chronic medical condition. I have gout. Um, it gets pretty bad at times. Um, so when I was having this gout attack, people were laughing. I had no idea what was going on. All of a sudden, what we now know was the joint more than likely popping out because my gout gets so bad. And we actually have evidence that the joint has popped out, or joints have popped out in the knee, specifically the joint that's in the inner part of the knee, the joint that's closer to the other knee, and the top joint are known to pop out. But we now believe was probably the joint in the foot popping out, the one that goes from the big toe all the way to the heel. But back then we didn't know it. I didn't know it was that, and I thought something crazy was going on. I thought a blood vessel had popped. I wasn't getting help whatsoever. They were refusing. You can actually see other videos that I have showing this refusal. The way the unit was set up is that all the doors besides one to the outside or to out of the unit were metal steel doors. Um, Again, I'm in the process of my IQ changing and everything changing, not exactly um, being able to understand everything that I'm able to understand now, of course. But I knew something was wrong. I needed to give myself help. The only way to get the fastest way to get me help and my highest chance was when the nurse's station was nil empty or emptied. Why? Because if I started running my way around, I wouldn't. I would have been caught. Getting around the nursing station was more tricky, and it wasn't as easy. And they were watching. So I made the best decision I could to go straight through the nursing station. Donna Volchek stepped in front of me as I was going through the nursing station, blocked me. Um, and the supervisor was sitting in her chair because she never wanted to do anything. Was literally almost 400 pounds lady sitting in the chair because she never did anything. Again, this is mental health. Mental health is filled with abuse, unfortunately. Um, Donna Volchek stepped in front of me. There was metal desks and filing cabinets all around us. My ultimate goal was getting me to safety, and I had the sense of mind to also try my best to make sure nobody else gets hurt. If I would have shoved her, she would have been flying into a um, filing cabinet and possibly gotten severely hurt or worse. And I stand by this decision. Um, or she would have had her head cracked against the desk. My only decision was to use one hand to try and move her in the best and fastest way possible and to keep trying to get myself to help. The evidence is clear. The evidence has always been clear. Um, to this regard, saying a bunch of people who I am accusing and still to this day accuse of misconduct, unprofessionalism, and pretty much endangering my well-being, saying that these people are witnesses is crazy. Look at the actual physical facts. Look at the photos that I took. This citation from the state hospital. I literally complained to the Department of Hospital Division in New York State where this took place. They came in and cited the hospital because they failed to actually have any records. You're in a mental health unit. You're going to have records every few minutes. They're going to have where the patient was. All this type of documentations is going to be available. When all you have is the discharge and admission paperwork and you don't have any in-between paperwork in a mental health unit, that's suspicious enough. That sits there and says that the people on that unit are not, some of them may not be able to lie or would not have lied. You don't have vitals because vitals probably would have sat there and showed stuff as well. You don't have any actual evidence. All you don't want to have that evidence. You're going to get rid of it. You're going to get rid of everything you can. Some people may say, well, they may have just doctored it. Again, not everybody involved may have been able to lie or been willing to lie. So you have that. So, yeah, they were cited, which tells us that something's iffy as it stands. The photos of that day, the day after, tell us something was wrong. So, instead of everybody trying to attack me, why don't we just recognize and accept that something god awful happened? Thankfully, for the most part, this is an incident where jobs and so on cannot find. And I'm not giving out any real documents. It's not going to be on a background check um, for for reasons. Though it does still have impacts, and it's not acceptable. Um, but the reality is that I was attacked. The reality is that the evidence is there. The reality is unfortunately still in this day and time, mental health facilities still have a lot of abuse that goes through them. My degree is a degree that hopefully I can help and stop this kind of abuse from taking place to other people.